Gary. Yeah.
Yeah, just briefly. Thank you. Thank you. Ms. Manuel's coming in, counsel.
Pardon?
Ms. Manuel's going to come in now.
Okay. Thank you.
Yours, Zachary?
The jury's coming in now.
Hey, Ms. Manuel, thanks for coming back in. Let the record reflect the approach of the defendant, his counsel, the assistant state attorneys, as well as one of our jurors, Ms. Manuel. Counsel, please be seated. Ms. Manuel, please be seated. Ms. Manuel, why I brought you in is my bailiff indicated to me that when we weren't able to start this morning, that he was escorting the jurors out, and you approached him and asked him about what happened with the mistrial or something to this effect. Is that right? So that's a yes. All right. So I guess my concern is what you may have heard about this alleged mistrial and where you heard it from.
The last day I was here, and the defense attorney jumped up and said mistrial.
Okay. So that's where you heard it from?
Yeah.
Anything other than that?
No.
All right. Was there any other research that you may have done or looked at newspapers or any kind of article about the motion for mistrial, anything like that?
No.
Anything on the news, any news media
No.
about the mistrial? No. And last but not least, did you speak with any of the other jurors about the motion for mistrial?
No, when Gary came in and asked us this morning, did we have any issues, any questions? And I didn't want to ask him in front of everybody, so I waited till we got in the hall and I pulled him to the side and asked him that. If he asked me, we have any concern.
Okay, all right. Okay, that's what we're trying to clear up and find out. Because there's a admonition that I say every time we break, don't discuss the case, don't form any opinion about
No,
the
it was
case.
said in here.
That's what we're trying to find out.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate it.
Okay. So it looks like that's one of the members of the jury.
Thank you. Let the record reflect the juror stepped out. Counsel remain on the defendant. Anything you wish to do regarding?
Okay, so one of the jury members, approached today and said, "Yo, what happened with the mistrial?" Right? Now, keep in mind, remember, the jury's going in and out of the room. Anytime they're talking about this mistrial or some of the nuances of the case, the jury can't hear these discussions and these sidebars, so they'll let the jury leave. Theoretically, this woman should have never heard about mistrial. Why? If you're hearing that the case is nearing a mistrial or it's a possibility of a mistrial, automatically you get kind of biased to say, oh, this is some bullshit. This is some bullshit right here, right? So, since she was out the room with the rest of the jurors, and she shouldn't be online looking at articles, looking at blogs, how the fuck does she know it was supposed to be a mistrial? That's why they asked her, yo, where'd you hear about the mistrial? Okay. It looks like this is going to slow up the starting of this case because they need to figure out what they're doing with this jury, right? They're probably going to talk to the prosecutor to say, hey, do you feel comfortable? And the defense.
Okay, counsel, I'll bring you in. Is that all right?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's put the jury in.
Okay, so I guess they said they feel comfortable with that juror continuing because otherwise they could have dismissed that juror. Usually there's alternates as well, but it looked like they're going to keep on with that juror. By the way, just hearing how that juror talked, she a black woman. I think she on Melly's side.
Thanks, Tom.
I did the
Jury entering.
Please be seated. Let the record once again reflect the presence of the defendant, his counsel, the assistant state attorneys, and as well as the ladies and gentlemen of the jury. Ladies and gentlemen, sorry for the late start. Hopefully everybody's all right. We appreciate your patience. We also appreciate the fact that you're all here, and we thank you. But we're ready to begin again. When we left off last week, the state was still on its case in chief.
Tio Tyler, by the way, thank you for the $5. You said, I'm glad you're not throwing your reputation behind them like everyone else. What are you talking about? Are you talking about this Melly case? I'm not too sure what you're talking about. Hey, listen, what I've learned, bro, yo, I'm going to just be frank with y'all. Listen, you know, any journalist or however way people want to go about doing, oh, damn, she got a little ass over here? Oh, holy shit. Wait, hold up. Fucked up my whole train of thought. Is it a little ass? Is it poking? Nah, that's that woody. That's that white girl booty. All right, back to what I'm saying. Listen, for me, there's nobody important enough. Like, I like Tory, but I'm not one of them niggas who be like, yo, because I thought he was innocent, I'm gonna just fucking just act like I'm gonna be in denial forever. Bro, at the end of the day, my nigga, like, you start to look foolish and clearly biased. So, you know, even with this Melly situation, I'm like, yo, I love Melly. I want him to come home. But I'm kind of trying to analyze it. Let's see. Also, the same thing with Tate. I think that was probably meant at the Tate thing. Yeah, no. The manosphere niggas got to throw their reputation behind Tate. Now, the reason why they got to throw their reputation behind Tate is like Tate is Big Daddy. You feel me? Like, if they're not 100% with Tate, they lose part of their own audience. You get what I mean? Like, me, I don't know what happened. I'll figure it out.
for T-Mobile.
A total of 26 years.
And what do you do for T-Mobile?
I am a manager within the legal emergency response unit.
This is the GPS. Remember I told you GPS was coming? GPS is here, baby.
Companies?
Yes, I did.
And what were those?
Don't get T-Mobile. They snitch on you.
Wireless,
And how long did you work for AT&T?
5 years.
How long in total have you worked in the telecommunications industry?
31 years.
So you indicated you were part of the manager of the emergency response.
Legal emergency response.
And what does that mean?
That means that we respond to subpoenas and other legal demands from various agencies across the United States.
And when you say a legal demand, what would you mean by that?
Subpoena or a court order, search warrant.
In terms of the records when you work with them, how often do you work with them?
Every day.
What do you do with the records?
So we're able to retrieve the information from our secured computer database. and then send the response back to the agency that's requesting.
And I know this might sound silly, but what type of company
I ain't gonna lie, somebody said she look racist. Look at them eyes. That's the eyes that's done seen a lot of racism right there, man.
of any other wireless carriers?
We did acquire Sprint.
How long has T-Mobile been the parent company for Sprint?
April 1st, 2020 is when we acquired them.
A nigga said she looked like a tired raccoon. That's crazy.
By T-Mobile. Do you keep
Yo, chat, remember when
Yes.
niggas hacked my shit and it was tweeting out bad baby got big titties and talk about, oh, Drake did all type of gay stuff about Drake, and then 6ix9ine got locked up? You know what cell service I had? Because they got into my cell shit. You know how they did it? Sprint.
Detailed reports will show
Nigga, I went to the store, nigga, I had to say, I'm leaving this company now, nigga. Close that fucking account.
Does T-Mobile keep that information as to when data is used?
Yes.
Will a data phone call or video call show up in call detail records?
No.
Does the information show for who is being called?
Yes, it will show the transaction of the outbound or inbound phone call on the call detail records.
Does T-Mobile keep the cell site information for the call that the outgoing non-T-Mobile subscriber?
No.
What's the purpose of collecting this information at T-Mobile?
Billing purposes.
Is there any consideration as to the health and optimization of the network?
So we keep what is known as timing advance records, which is solely for engineering purposes, so that they are able to check up on the network, yes.
When a phone call is made from a cellular device or handset, can you describe from the network perspective what happens?
Sure. So what happens is the phone reaches out to the tower with the strongest signal, which is not necessarily the closest tower. So for example, we can have a tower on top of the building, or we can have one down the street. However, the one down the street might be the stronger signal and would pick up that call. At that point, it's transferred to our switch, and our switch is what records all the information that you will see on the call detail records. At that point, it's then transferred to a landline company, and it's the landline company that actually delivers the call.
So you mentioned true call data. What is that?
So true call data is for the network. It will show where the phone is connected to when it's not in use, as long as it's turned on.
Does Sprint also have a similar type of data?
Yes,
What is per call measurement data?
correct.
Is that the same for true call, but the Sprint analogy?
Correct, that's Sprint's term.
In terms of subscriber information, what types of subscriber information is kept?
So the subscriber information, we have two types. One would be a prepay, and then the other would be a monthly account.
So the prepay, what type of information could you have?
So prepay, a customer is not required to provide their information, but they could provide a name, address, and date of birth.
On the postpaid or the billed type, what type of information do you have?
So we would have the name, the address, date of birth, social security number, and we actually do a credit check on that individual.
In terms of the individual using the specific phones or handsets, can you testify to that?
No,
How many times have you testified in court before?
over 1,000 times.
Damn!
Were you, as the records custodian for T-Mobile, provided legal process, I'm gonna go through them one by one. Under reference tracking number for T-Mobile, 214-6318.
Yo, they said she's the epitome of the saying that white women age like milk.
43769158.
Yes,
As the T-Mobile records custodian under tracking number 2192645, where you provided records or requests and legal process for 3 phone numbers, 561-720-3210, 772-713-9807, and 954-376-9158.
yes,
As the records custodian for T-Mobile under T-Mobile tracking ID 2081851, where you submitted
Yo, she not looking down at no notes or nothing. She just saying yes to everything.
9081.
Maybe her memory's that good. If I'm the defense attorney, I'd be like, yo, repeat those numbers without looking down at anything. How the fuck do you know what you were saying yes to?
Phone number 954-376-9158, where you provided a legal process to obtain the records for that issue.
Yes,
Were you also, under tracking number 2058127, asked to provide for legal process phone number records for 772-713-9807?
yes,
Was Sprint at the time, now part of T-Mobile, under the phone numbers for 77.
Yo, my man Rendig special on Rumble said, yo, she a professional snitch.
95 under Sprint tracking number 2018-221418, provided legal process and requested to provide records.
yes,
Was Sprint under Sprint case number 2019-15821, asked to provide records with regards to phone number 225-529-5054.
yes,
Prior to coming into court today, did you have the opportunity to review the records that were provided?
yes, I did.
Are these records made at or about the time they are created by a person with knowledge?
Yes,
Are they kept in the regular course of business of Sprint and T-Mobile?
yes, they are.
Okay. Is it in the regular practice to keep such records?
Yes,
You're at this time approaching with what's been labeled as states 000 for identification purposes and previously shown to defense. Ms. Johnson, do you recognize this USB?
yes, I do.
How do you recognize it?
My initials and today's date are on the USB.
And does those USB fairly and accurately represent the records that were provided by T-Mobile in response to the tracking numbers that we just discussed, as well as to Sprint and the tracking numbers and case numbers they just provided?
Yes,
Here at this time, the state would offer states 000 as state 63.
Any objection?
Yes, Judge. Objection. Relevance.
Sure, why don't you come sidebar here?
All right, so this woman who looks like soggy milk, she's been on the stand 1,000 times. She's definitely a professional at this. What she's going to basically do is explain the triangulation that was done by experts. I would imagine that there's going to be another person as well. There's going to be another person as well that comes in to testify for, it's going to be an expert. So she's not an expert. She's a legal person that kind of deals with these requests from law enforcement with subpoenas, this and third. So what she's going to testify is that, hey, we did get a subpoena pertaining to these numbers. And what we could verify is that they were in these areas or they hit these cell towers. But the triangulation is going to be a little bit more complex. That's why I think they're going to bring in a real expert to kind of map like a route. You get what I mean? So she's just there to kind of, hey, listen, who opened the accounts? It's very important. Keep in mind that Melly's legal team has denied or has not admitted that is his phone. That's that number that was connected to Snapchat. Remember that Snapchat shit got thrown out. So there is still a possibility Melly's team could say, yeah, y'all tracking his phone, but that wasn't his phone. Remember they even introduced, yo, all these guys were on the same cell plan. They all had a family plan or whatever. Maybe the phone was just left in the car. Anything could happen. Now, they're going to do a few interesting things because there's a few calls that happened. The FaceTime with Fredo Bang and Melly, FaceTime with Melly and the girlfriend, and Melly supposedly leaving in another car. That supposedly was Fredo Bang coming to pick him up. So, again, she probably could help with what cell towers, what T-Mobile or maybe Sprint at that time, cell towers did that call hit off? Did it hit off this cell tower, whatever? Then an expert probably comes in afterwards to kind of really map it out to say it's 90% possible or it's 90% likely they were in this area. All these like identifiers of your phone were all together in the car, which is the 4 phones from the 4 individuals. They're all together in the car at this position, then one person gets out here. We believe that's where the murder was done. He leaves. The murder happens. They drive to another spot to stage the shooting, right? Because they staged the shooting, and then allegedly, and then the guy, which is Melly, leaves with somebody else, and they're gonna show the timing to basically said Melly was with them after the shooting happened. The medical examiner. Did the medical examiner testify already? They basically did they? I told you they're gonna have to basically testify. Yo, the person should have been dead at this time. The bullet that killed him, well, I think they did. Went through the back of the head, came out the front, all of that type of stuff. So that's kind of what's gonna happen, and we're kind of waiting for that to happen right now. So while we're waiting for this, we're gonna go back to this interrogation footage. Here we go.
Down a path, and we ask him to push it as hard as he can.
Thank you. So,
Okay, we're back.
There's a good chance.
objection overruled, it will be admitted. What's the next number?
63.
63 and evidence.
Permission to publish?
You may.
If you ask me why the defense objected, they're probably saying objection, Your Honor. Like the phone bill is not in Melly's name, but yet y'all are admitting into evidence information about a phone that the state has yet to prove was Melly's. Y'all don't know that phone was Melly's. How could you accept this flash drive with evidence that's claiming that's Melly's phone data? You get what I mean?
In this particular file, 2018-221418-6155597.
This would be the subscriber information.
And in terms of looking at this particular one, I'm going to zoom in. What is the billing name for this?
Chris Thomas.
And going to the second one, what is the billing name on this one?
Octavius Withers.
The first name is Dontavius. Last name is Withers. Withers.
At the top of this screen capture,
She didn't want to fuck up the name. She just spelled it.
EAN number. Do you know what that means?
Yes,
What is that?
that would be the account number.
Does that correlate with the other data that's been provided?
Yes.
Going to now the same Word document file name. What are we looking at in this Sprint document?
This is also subscriber information.
So you had mentioned that billing account number, that BAN number.
Correct.
If you can touch the screen in front of you, you can write on it and it will show up on the screen for the jurors. So if you could point out where the billing account number is here. Okay. And then what is the phone number that was being used by this account, or the subject number?
772-713-2341.
And is this again for that Chris Thomas billing account?
Yes.
Okay. Scrolling down to the next billing account number. Is this the other account that we just looked at the subscriber information on for Dontavius Withers?
Yes.
And what is the phone number that's associated with this particular account?
954-371-7895.
Going on to 2019-158-210-6566861. For the phone number in question on this particular record, is that labeled right here?
Yes.
And what phone number is that?
225-529-5054.
looking at the Microsoft Excel viewer. Can you explain to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury what we're looking at here?
These are the call detail records with cell site information for Sprint.
Going over to the T-Mobile records. Just for demonstrative and illustrative purposes, when you are looking, this particular one called Timing Advance LTE and UMTS underscore TN 772-713-9807. Then it has another underscore IMSI. What is an IMSI?
That stands for International Mobile Subscriber Identity Number, which is the number that's associated with the SIM card found in the back of the phone.
And the first, the 772-713-9807. What is that?
That would be the phone number.
Are all of these records provided by T-Mobile?
Yes.
In terms of completion codes, is that something that is reflected in these records?
Yes.
What is a completed successfully completion code?
So that means that the call went through the network successfully.
What is an abnormal completion?
An abnormal completion means the call did not go through. Perhaps the user hung up prior to the call connecting or a dropped call.
Okay. In terms of what time frame are all of these records kept in?
We keep them in UTC time, which is Coordinated Universal Time. So depending on what time of the year it is, you would have to subtract either 4 or 5 hours from the time that you see reflected in order to arrive at East Coast time.
On October 26th of 2018, how many hours did you have to subtract?
It would be -4.
The cell site locations indicate latitude and longitude of the cell site. Is that now there's also a physical address. Is the physical address always the same as the latitude and longitude?
No.
What could the physical address sometimes show?
So that's what we refer to as an administrative address. So we use that for 911 purposes. To get the exact location of the cell tower, you would take the two coordinates, the latitude and longitude, plot it into a mapping program such as Google Earth, and that will give you the exact location.
Oh, she do know a little bit about GPS. I thought she was just legal. Okay, go ahead, girl.
So nothing further of this witness, Your Honor?
Counsel, is there any cross-examination?
1 second, John.
Oh, if she said nothing further, they're gonna bring a real expert then. So the expert's gonna plot it in and all that type of shit. Attila, yes I am. Yo, Swiggle, what's good, boy? Thank you for the 5, my nigga. I'm on every chat at the same time. I'm on YouTube, Rumble,
Good, thank
Twitch.
you.
I just went on Facebook.
So, the technology that you just described for identifying locations, how is that verified by T-Mobile itself?
That you would have to ask an engineer for.
So you don't know how that's done?
How it's verified?
Yeah.
As to what tower connected to? Is that what you're asking?
Yes.
So it's done with a radio frequency, is how the towers work. It's a signal.
Okay, so but you were telling us earlier that the phone does not necessarily connect to the nearest tower.
Correct.
It connects to the tower with the strongest signal.
Correct.
So how is it that you know to approximate, how do you know how far the phone is from the actual tower?
I don't.
Is there no way to tell that?
No. Not through me.
Not through you?
Correct.
An expert's gonna
And-
tell. You're gonna be able to tell based on how long it takes. It's all data. How long it takes that phone to send to that tower. It's gonna tell the distance, and it's gonna tell an approximate circular radius. I guarantee it.
Or signal?
That would not be a question for me.
See,
You would
not
have
for
to
her.
ask an engineer.
Engineer.
How would you know whether or not a phone defaults to a stronger strength. If you have a tower with a strong signal and another tower with a not so strong signal, or a signal that's not as strong as the other, you with me so far?
Yes.
How would you know at what point the signal disparity is strong enough for it to default to the one that's further away as opposed to the one that's closer?
Again, that's a question for an engineer, not for me.
So you have no way of helping us understand any of this information that you just described?
Correct.
You just
She knows account
Collected?
access.
when you're subpoenaed and you provide,
Correct.
and you're not familiar with the technology at all.
Not the questions that you're asking, correct.
One,
Sure.
Uncle Drip, you said why her face all melty? Boy, I don't know, man. She looked like she got stung by a pack of bees, but I got puffy cheeks too. I think it's just her eyes look sunk in. This dude should save the good questions. They're gonna bring the real expert, my nigga. I'm telling you.
is it correct that the data location information, the purpose that you worked with Sprint and with T-Mobile at some point,
I'm a T-Mobile employee.
and you were a Sprint employee at some point?
No, sir.
You were somewhere else? No?
AT&T.
AT&T.
Correct.
The purpose that AT&T, and in this case now T-Mobile, collects this data location information is for billing.
Correct.
That's its only purpose.
And network. Engineers collect to optimize the network.
Okay. It's not used for identifying the locations of customers' phones beyond the purpose of just billing.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you. Is there any redirect?
Yes, Your Honor. Ms. Johnson, counsel asked you, how do you know how something didn't happen? Is that a fair question?
Objection.
Sustain, rephrase.
With regards to these records, are they accurate?
Objection.
What's the objection?
Lack of foundation, Chief.
Why don't you come sidebar?
Lack of foundation. All right, we're getting some really interesting news that's coming down right now.